So apparently, if you beat Florida State, you're ranked. And the next game, you lose. Well, that is the same thing for Boston College as they play. They played closely with Missouri, who's been dominating their first two games, but Missouri finished the win 27-21. Welcome to Down and Distance. Today is Wednesday, September 18th. UNLV is on a roll this week, and on a roll this season. Talk about that later in the show, but I am Braden Slater, your host of this show, and let's get started with the game of the week, the Apple Cup. Washington State versus Washington, 24-19 was the Cougars' score. Win. What a win. On the road at 2. I was kind of expecting Washington to win this game, but at the rivalry game, Washington State surprised me, got the W, and Washington is not the team they were last year. I know they don't have the same head coach because he's at Alabama now, but Arizona head coach from last year is now at Washington, and he did some successful things, got a talented team that he's taking over, but it's just no. But if you look at the stats, Washington probably should have won this game, except for, unless you look at the penalties. Yeah, the penalties is really what killed them in this game. Washington State made some big plays. But, John Matter threw 50%, 245 yards. He only got sacked once. Pretty good. One touchdown. But he does have that one interception. But it was just enough to beat Washington. So what a win that was for them. All right, let's look at the scoreboard recap from the weekend. Starting off with Arizona versus Kansas State. Kansas State completely blew them out of the water. They were at home. I was expecting it to be a lot closer game, but it wasn't. And then UNLV beats another Big 12 team. They're now 2-0 against the Big 12, 3-0 overall, 23-20 over Kansas. Well done, UNLV. They might just win the Mountain West. And hello, Pac-12. You might want to add UNLV to your expansion pack, but again, it has to be a state school. And then on Georgia versus Kentucky, boy, was this a game. If you were to tell me that Kentucky did not score a touchdown, it was all field goals by Kentucky, I wouldn't believe you. Scoring 12 points and only lost by 1 and didn't score a touchdown to Georgia. Kentucky's got the defense, and Georgia only scored 1 touchdown as well. So Kentucky really had more field goals than Georgia. But again, you can't. Eventually, Georgia's going to find the end zone, and it wasn't enough. But, total comparison right there. Kentucky does have. I think Kentucky probably would have won this game. They didn't have that one turnover. But Georgia had some penalty problems that really kind of cost them. That kept Kentucky in the game, defensive-wise. So, Georgia found a way to win that game some way, somehow, and gave Texas the number 1 spot in AP poll. Alabama destroyed Wisconsin 42-10. Wisconsin was in the game for the first quarter. Once that quarter ended, it was all Alabama. And then Oregon beat Oregon State. It wasn't just a beatdown. 49-14 for Oregon. And Utah, a rivalry game on the road, so closer than, once again, another closer game than I thought it was, but Utah gets the win. And then LSU versus South Carolina. South Carolina probably should have won this game. I don't know how they lost this game, but LSU found a way to win 36-33. Just wow. And then the comparison charts. Yeah, you got to see this one. Yeah. Wow. Look at the numbers. There's a lot of yards. There was no defense in this game. And a lot of turnovers. Look at the penalties in this game. There's so many turnovers and penalties in this game. This game was chaos. I couldn't believe it when I saw I knew it was a crazy game, but when I saw the stats, I was like, what? Yeah, upset alert tone is back. Memphis. Would you even consider this an upset anymore? I think Florida State is going to be expecting to lose all their games now. I'm going to be expecting that now. But Memphis get the win over Florida State 20-12. A&M gets a, it's a win. It's a win against Florida. That's all I can say. They beat Florida. It was the battle. That's going to be the battle of the bottom of the SEC, anyway. The Backyard Brawl. Pitt gets a good win at home, 38-34 over West Virginia. What a game that was. That was an entertaining game. I mean, yeah, Pitt has over 112 yards in penalties, but yeah, they both almost have 400 yards total. I mean, Pitt had a hard time rushing the ball, only 78 yards, but can you tell me that you scored 38 points, won the game, and only rushed for 78 yards? Wow, how did you win that ball game? But it's the Backyard Brawl for a reason. Duke was in a close one, UConn, but won the game. Vanderbilt's winning streak is officially over. They are no longer the king of the non-conference games. Anyway, yeah, lost to Georgia State. Toledo beat Mississippi State. Not just beat them, 41-17. And then UCF beat TCU 35-34. I mean, I would say an upset because I probably expected TCU to win this game, but I mean, I think they're both kind of evenly matched, and UCF only beat up by 1, but they both took care of the ball very well. Look at that, no defense at all. Over 400 yards for TCU, almost 500. UCF went over 500 yards. I mean, look at that, but TCU couldn't run the ball at all. I think that their struggle at the game. They just could not run the ball. All right, I'm bringing this segment back. Iowa point updates. They beat Troy 38-21. Troy had a chance to pull off an upset, but it wasn't enough. Yeah, for some reason, Iowa's actually playing like a college football team where their defense is not as great as it was last year, and they're putting up points. They got a total of 97 points this year, and it's the road to 325 again. All right, let's take a look at my pick'em for this past week. I went 5 for 5. Not a good week. 28 points. I won a lot more. I'm 17 for 13. I could do better with 99 points. Yeah, but I kind of already want to be close to 200 this far into the season, so I got a lot of work to do. And then LSU and South Carolina was the ESPN game of the week for last week for you know, the total point total. I guess 57. It was 69. Yeah, that number. Yeah, I wasn't even close. That was not a good week for me. And then let's do we even have to look the spread? I don't want to look the spread. 4 for 6. Oh no. I gotta lose it for the first time ever. I have a losing record at any point in any season with 140 points, 14 and 16. And I guess 53 total points this time. Yeah, I wasn't even close at all. And then I picked South Carolina to cover. They did. They did. At least I got one. At least I can win the betting game. Yeah. Woo. I may have picked South Carolina to win the game, but they might have lost. But they did cover for me, so I'll take that. But it wasn't enough to. I'm still have a losing record in the spread, but I'm gonna do a better job. I'm hoping for 7 wins in Pick'em this week, and hopefully I could do maybe 6 in the spread coming next week. I don't know. We'll find out. We got a good. It's a challenging Saturday for us, so I might get everything wrong. Anyway, overrated and underrated time. Overrated that last week. Boston College. Why in the world were they ranked at 24? Because they beat Florida State, which Florida State's 0-3. They hadn't even been competitive at all this year. I mean, they lost to Memphis. So, why in the world? I mean, yeah, they played Missouri close. Yeah. But they still lost the game. I mean, if they would have won that game, maybe I would have thrown them over underrated. Nah. But, wow. Yeah. Boston College is a good team. They probably will pull off some unexpected upsets in the ACC. But ranking them, that is a little overreaction. Alright. Who is my underrated team this week for week 3? It is Memphis. Why is it always the teams that Florida State plays? Yeah, they're outscoring their opponent, and this has nothing to do with Florida State, basically. It's the reason why they're underrated. They are one of the best group of 5 teams right now, them and UNLV. They're outscoring opponents by 69 points. Impressive. That is impressive. And oh yeah, and then that number again. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I need to look up how much UNLV is outscoring their opponents. Maybe I'll put, I'll get to UNLV later on. But for now, let's talk about the NFL. All right, Tagovailoa has yet again had another concussion and is out for about 4 to 6 weeks. So you're telling me he's had his 5th career concussion? And you're saying, oh yeah, he'll be back at some point later in the season. What? That dude needs to retire. I do not know why he's still playing football. Or someone tell him to slide properly. Come on. And the Panthers have benched Bryce Young. Yes, Bryce Young. So the question now is the Panthers killing quarterbacks' careers? Because it seems like every quarterback that played at the Panthers since Cam Newton, his career basically ended. Unless you, and then look at Baker Mayfield. He got out of there, went to the Rams. Now he's on the Buccaneers, and he is playing great. I'll talk about the Buccaneers in a minute, but for now, the Cowboys. I don't know what to say. 44-19 at home with the loss. And the Cowboys' offense wasn't that bad either. CeeDee Lamb was lighting it up. And the Chiefs beat the Buccaneers 26-25. It was close. That was a lot closer than I thought it was. And, yeah, the officials kind of sided with the Chiefs and may have helped them win this ball game. But, yeah, I don't think the Chiefs are going to, comparing off of this game, Chiefs are going to have a hard time winning some games this year. And Patrick Mahomes, 72%, 151 yards. He got sacked twice. He's got 2 touchdowns. And the one that probably will hurt him the most, he's got 2 interceptions that wasn't called back. Yep. The officials are no longer siding with Patrick Mahomes anymore. I mean, they are, but not as much as they used to be. So, if the NFL is scripted, I don't think it's on the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl this year. Anyway, total comparison stats. Yeah. Both of them almost over 300 yards. Yeah. Buccaneer basically wins everything besides rushing. But, yeah. How do you have 3 turnovers and still win the game by 1 point? But look at the penalty yardage. I mean, 79-yard penalty. I can kind of see that. That's kind of average. But we'll see how the season goes. I should make a penalty chart against the for the Chiefs throughout the years. But the Buccaneers beat the Lions 20-17. The Jets beat the Titans 24-17. Yeah, another home team scoring 17 points. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers gets his first win as the Jets. Pretty impressive. Yeah, finally, it's about time. And Texas again beat the Bears 19-13. Yeah, Caleb Williams' first loss in the NFL. And then, oh boy, if you were watching Monday Night Football and you turned it off like some point in the fourth quarter, you're like, the Eagles got this win. And then you see that final score, you're like, what? What happened? The Falcons won? Yeah, some way, somehow, they won that ball game. And here's some big kind of key matchups for this Sunday. Yeah, Texans go against the Vikings, 12 o'clock on CBS. And then on Fox, it's the Eagles versus the Saints. So, yeah. Basically, these are, I wouldn't say the top 4 teams in the NFL, but these are the most dominating teams in the NFL right now. Alright, back to college football. Got some headlines for you. Missouri's board is getting it has approved a $250 million stadium renovation. I mean, don't know what it will look like, but that is the good news for Missouri, as their program is football program way up, looking really good. And I've been hyping them up all show long, but UNLV is 3-0. Yeah, guess who they beat? Houston, 27-7. Utah Tech. Okay, yeah, but 72-14. Put up 72 points. And they beat Kansas 23-20. They're 2-0 over the Big 12. And they're outscoring their opponents by 81 points. What? That is more than Memphis. And then here is their future schedule. Fresno State, they're good. Syracuse, they're good. And Utah State had a chance to knock off Utah. So UNLV is really set up for success if they win these games. All right. And on to DirecTV versus Disney. Agreement has been made, so all ESPN and Disney family of networks is back on DirecTV. Yay! And then also, the Pitt head coach has been fined for $5,000 by the ACC for yelling at officials for complaining about a call. Yeah, that happened. And also, you got to see what California head coach did. Borrowed the official's mic to yell at a fan to stop throwing things on the field. Anyway, fans were booing Billy at halftime because they were having a bad game against A&M. Oh boy. And he admits, is like, yeah, I would have booed myself if I was losing in the swamp playing this bad. And also, here's some big news. Not official yet, but Air Force and the American Conference are having discussions back and forth about joining the conference. This would make Army, Navy, and Air Force all in the military, all in the same conferences, but if they all play each other, they would be at non-conference. Wow. SEC is winning the conference breakdown. The Big 12's got 7. The Group of 5 has beaten 7. The ACC and the Big 10 all the way down below. And the old Pac-12 has 5 wins. And they've beaten 3 SEC opponents. Well done. Huh. I just wish that we had a, some conference in the Pac with all those great teams, Just saying. Anyway, let's take a look at my ranking. I got Memphis at 25. I got them ranked now. Michigan at 24. Notre Dame at 23. Iowa at 22. And I have Nebraska ranked at 21 now. I really like the way that Nebraska has been playing. Iowa, I mean, they're putting up points now, and this is the lowest they've probably been in the last couple years. So let's get that defense back up, and they could be dominating in the Big Ten. And Memphis, I mean, back and forth between them and UNLV, I mean, it's going to be a race of the Group of 5. I'll talk more about the Group of 5 chances of making the playoffs on Saturday on American Game Day. Let's look at my top 20. I got Iowa State at 20, Clemson at 19, Louisville at 18. Yes, I am keeping Washington at 17 until they have a bad loss. I think Washington State is a good team and it's a rivalry game, but I did drop them 5 spots. And Kansas State slowly earning my respect, but yeah, I got them at 16. But yeah, that is quite my rankings here. And a lot of people are like, why do you still have Clemson ranked? I mean, they might have lost. They're only lost to Georgia, and they're winning the rest of their game. It may not be that impressive, but they do have one good loss. I'll just say that. And USC, I mean, Lincoln Riley is doing a lot better job. Man, they look a lot without Caleb Williams. They certainly do look a lot better offensively and defensively, some way, somehow. They're at 15. Oklahoma State's at 14, Missouri's at 13, LSU's at 12, and Tennessee is at 11. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, you have Tennessee out of the top 10 after scoring that many? Well, they haven't had they haven't played anybody yet. That's the reason why I had Tennessee this low. They played nobody yet, and they got somebody this week. And yeah, and you're probably wondering, yeah, why in the world Tennessee looks like the better team, but Oklahoma's ranked better than them? I'll get to that in just a minute. I got Penn State at 10, Utah at 9, Miami at 8, Oklahoma at 7, and Oregon at 6. Yeah, here's the reason why I have Oklahoma this high in my rankings and over Tennessee. Yes, Tennessee has a lot better offense than Oklahoma does, but every team that has played Oklahoma so far this year, every head coach has said that defense is scary, gonna be scary in the SEC, and it's gonna be, I think it's very possible we're gonna have the best defense versus the best offense this Saturday, and it's gonna be a really good true test to see. And Tennessee's gotten not that bad of a defense, but it hasn't been tested yet like Oklahoma has, because they've already played Tulane, and Tulane has been hyped as a playoff team. They beat them, and it was, I mean, I gotta say, one of the best performed Oklahoma, I mean, not perfect yet, I mean, definitely not the Oklahoma Steelers offensively, but it was the best I've seen them play offensively this year. Georgia at 5, Ole Miss at 4, Alabama at 3, Ohio State at 2, and guess what? I called it, as much as I hate to say it, Texas is at 1, and the AP after Georgia still won the game, and they dropped in the AP rankings. They dropped in mine too, but yeah, AP agrees with me. Texas is the #1 team, and based off my ranking, this is what the playoff will look like. Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna get crazy. Memphis versus Alabama. That's gonna be a good game. Love to see it. Alabama completely destroy them, I know that. Oklahoma versus Oregon. I didn't do this on purpose, I'll tell you this. I didn't even know I was going to do this matchup until I made the bracket, but that's going to be quite a ball game. Love to see that. Oklahoma versus Dylan Gabriel. And Oregon would be home. Yeah. And then Tennessee versus Ole Miss. Yeah, two of the best offense in the SEC going at each other. Compete against Utah, which I know either one of them could beat Utah. Oregon versus Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. I think Texas could be either one of them. Miami. I think Miami will definitely for sure beat Memphis if Memphis beats Alabama. But, I mean, Alabama versus Miami gonna be a classic for sure. And then Penn State and Georgia. That is gonna be a classic game for sure. And then Ohio State is gonna have whoever wins that game, Ohio State's gonna be a challenge. For sure. Or, no, what I mean by Ohio State's going to be getting a challenge. So, they're going to struggle. But I think Ohio State might have the edge in this. But if I were to do it off this bracket, I think it might be Miami. I might slide with either Texas or Miami in the championship game. Go between one of them. And then possibly Ohio State. Yeah. And then let's look at the AP. Yeah, again, I agree with me. Texas is one. Yeah. But they got Northern Illinois still up there after beating Georgia. I do. I mean, after beating Notre Dame. Yeah, but they'll be playing Georgia. Georgia completely demolishing them. Missouri versus Tennessee. I mean, they're already SEC opponents. I mean, sure, I'll take that game. But Penn State and Alabama, I think you throw Penn State at any team and it'll be a good game. And then Oregon versus Ole Miss. And you throw Ole Miss in any team, I'm like, yeah, bring it on. So yeah, if I were to make my prediction based off this bracket, this is kind of the official bracket as of right now. Give me Georgia. It definitely beating Utah. Move them over there. I think Texas could beat any one of those. Any one of them. So give me Texas versus Georgia, and I think Georgia might have the edge in this one. Here, I think they'll be better prepared. I think Texas will be a little surprised over this one. I think Texas will beat them. Texas will beat Georgia in the regular season, and then Georgia will beat Texas in the playoffs. And then Miami versus Alabama, I think, very likely. I think Miami probably could win this game. And then I think it's going to be Ole Miss versus Ohio State. I'm kind of siding with Ohio State on this one. It's gonna be quite a playoff. I don't know who's going to win the game. I was just making an early prediction. But some notes from the AP. Illinois and A&M are now ranked. Some way, somehow, they're ranked. I don't know how A&M is ranked. But yeah, I see that in Arizona and Boston College to fill out the ranking after they were just put in. Especially Boston College. Yeah. And then Miami and Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois has one of the biggest jumps with Miami up to. Not much change in the AP this week. Just a couple went up, couple went down. Yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, let's talk about the teams we cover. Starting off with Kansas. Get this one over with real quickly because Kansas is like just get it over with. Don't even talk about it. We're at home. We got momentum. We're expected to be a favorite in the Big 12 this year. We're playing against a really good Mountain West team. UNLV coming in. We're paying them big money to do this. And we lose 23-20. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah. Yeah, let's look at Jaden Dino's stats as he's back this year. I haven't talked about much in here, but probably because he hasn't had the greatest season as he did last time. But throwing 50%, not great. 153 yards. Okay, average. Got sacked twice. Okay. Here's what really seems out why they lost the game. 0 touchdowns, but he got 2 interceptions. Yeah, they got West Virginia on Saturday. West Virginia will show up at home, for sure. Alright, let's talk about Oklahoma, the Sooners, as they had quite a matchup against Tulane. Yeah, Tulane, I mean, I keep saying this over and over again. Yeah, Tulane, probably not a playoff team anymore after losing this game. Yeah, but they still got a chance. They could win the American Conference and just hope that Memphis or UCLA or Northern Illinois or James Madison has a bad season. But yeah, there's so many good Group 5 teams right now. But Oklahoma's first true test, they win in at home 34-19. Now, wasn't an impressive game. Defense did win it for them, but that offense slightly better, slightly more open playbook than we saw the first 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean they finally got the running game going. They did have that one interception, but they got 2 turnovers and the penalties. I mean, yeah, average, yeah, but that's quite a win for Oklahoma right there to improve their resume. Alright, let's look at Jackson Arnold's stats. 62%, 169 yards. He got sacked 3 times. Yeah, but he's got to learn to get the ball out quicker, which is hard to do when you got the O-line that hasn't been that great. He's got 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But I have been told that they have at least 5 to 6 of their key offensive linemen coming back for the game Saturday. And you all know who they're playing Saturday. Yeah, Tennessee is coming to town. Josh Heupel. Yeah. And the offensive line, once again, my game notes, needs work. But they did have their clock management this game offensively was a lot better. Defense, the least amount of points Tulane scored this year, and possibly at last like 5 to 6 games. And defense needs to limit penalties. The defense needs to work on that, because that kept a Tulane drive alive a couple of times. That gave them some scores. But look at Oklahoma State. They completely dominated Tulsa 45-10, and I wish I could show you a post-game soundbite from Mike Stoops without getting copyrighted, but yeah, he had a press conference earlier this week, and apparently a vending machine in the press conference, and it went a little wonk, and yeah, it had some trouble making a really loud noise, and so he's a funny guy. I will say Mike Gundy, he is, but Alan Bowman, he needs to teach Alan Bowman how to throw better. I don't know, protect the ball. He's throwing 77%, 396 yards in this game. He definitely did a lot better compared to the last 2 games. Got sacked 0 times, got 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. And Holly Gordon is finally moving. Not really. I mean, 41 yards with 17 carries. He's having 2 yards every time he touches the ball. His longest run with 10 yards. And you're telling me he's up for the Heisman? Okay, moving on. Let's do some game notes for Oklahoma State. Need to work on penalties. I mean, overall, on both sides of the ball. 80 yards in penalties with 9 penalties. I mean, they're got Utah this Saturday. They got to move it. They got to get that fixed quickly. And offensively, they just got to move the ball. Work on moving the ball. But defense, they hold Tulsa to 10 points. I'll take it. I mean, not great. Not bad. Just needs to get worked on. And Tulsa, yeah. Tulsa, I mean, they got Louisiana Tech this Saturday. For sure, I think they're going to find a win there. I hope they do. But in order to win, they have to find a rhythm offensively. And defensively, yeah, on offense, find a rhythm. On defense, get off the field on 3rd down. There have been so many times in that game where Tulsa has hauled Oklahoma State to a 3rd and long, and Oklahoma State executes it. That's just what Tulsa needs to work on. All right, let's look at Texas, the #1 team in the AP poll and in my rankings. Texas beat UTSA 56-7, and yet they played nobody yet. Texas hadn't played a challenge yet this year, and they still haven't. But here's the biggest question. They take the #1 spot. I kind of arguing against myself because I have them at #1 too. But Texas is going to #1 heading into this week with their top quarterback out with the non-contract injury. I still have no idea what his injury is, and it's been almost a week now. And they play Louisiana Monroe this Saturday, and he's likely out. Yeah, guess who the starting quarterback for Louisiana Monroe is? General Booty, the third-string backup for Oklahoma last year. They're now 2-0. I'll talk more about that game on Saturday, but Arch Manning, as he comes in to now, he'll be starting in Saturday's game now, but he passed for 75% coming in, 223 yards. Take that. He only got sacked once. 4 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. Right away, better stats than Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers is not that bad, but Arch Manning, wow, he really has improved the last time I saw him play. And Texas, they had 2 turnovers this game. They really need to work on turning the ball over. They need to limit penalties, but wow. #1 in both in the rankings and recruiting right now. Impressive. But yeah, they got a big game for them. Louisiana Monroe completely knocked them out of the ballpark Saturday at 7 on ESPN+. Alright, let's look at some top games for Friday. Illinois goes on the road to Nebraska. Yeah, they're both ranked. They're both 3-0. 7 o'clock on Fox. And then at 9 on the CW. We got St. Joe State versus Washington State. Once again, they're both 3-0. Setting up for a big game Friday night. It's going to be a really good game. I'm looking forward to these two teams playing each other. I actually don't know who's going to win each of them. I mean, St. Joe State could pull off the upset, but Washington State does have a good win last week over Washington. I think Washington State probably win this game. I'll probably pick them. Nebraska, they look impressive, a lot better the last couple of years since they got rid of Scott Frost. I mean, yeah, they didn't look like a better team. They're ranked now. I think the first time I've seen Nebraska ranked in a while, too. But let's look at some key matchups for Saturday, our games of the week. USC, they are ranked 11. Again, number 18, Michigan, 2:30 on CBS. Yeah, the top game in the Big Ten this week on CBS. Going to be a big game for sure. I mean, this could possibly be a playoff game. And then the Big 12 got Utah versus Oklahoma State. This game definitely going to shake up the Big 12 and the playoff, because not only is this the first conference game for both teams, but very likely these two teams could play each other in the Big 12 championship game. But also Kansas State, they're looking to get in that spot as well. 9:30 on ESPN on Saturday. They go on the road to a talented BYU team who has been known to pull up big-time upsets at home. And then our game of the week at Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. 6:30 on ABC. ESPN College Game Day will be there early in the morning. Josh Heupel is back in town. The #1 offense, Tennessee in the SEC, versus the #1 defense, Oklahoma in the SEC. The Volunteers versus the Sooners, 6 versus 15. It's going to be quite a ball game, and cannot wait to completely break down this game. I will not mind talking about the whole show on Saturday about this game game on American Game Day. Get ready, because I got 30+ minutes of the game talk coming on Saturday. So get ready for this game. SEC is back. Alright, I'll see you all for another breakdown October 2nd on Down Distance. And I got a big show planned for you Saturday on American Game Day. See you all next time.